So now we're going to talk about objects. They're a different kind of list. They basically have some characteristics associated with them. So if you wanted to not only just store the name of the band, but you wanted to have maybe a list of bands that had a lot of different characteristics about them, these key value pairs, to be able to access them, we would put those within curly brackets. So we're going to have a variable called bands, and within that we're going to have a band that is the name, Old 97's, city, they live in Dallas, or they're from Dallas, and their genre is all country. And we can use document write to write that out. And you access it by saying the name of the object and then the name of the value, the key in that, and it'll give you the value. And when we want to have multiple bands in it, we would create an array. So notice the square bracket that would have an object as an element of the array. Each object is an element of the array. And again, we would still access it the same way, except we would have to access it with the index for the element in the array. So in this case, when it's the element 0 of this array, it's the second one actually, because we have, the element index 1. This one would be 0. This one would be 1. So we'd have bands 1 name, Spoon, bands 1 city, Austin, bands 1 genre, indie rock. So let's grab this whole thing and see what happens when we try to do it. I'm going to refresh this page here so we start fresh. So I'm going to put the whole thing in the Chrome inspector and run it. And we can see now that it did write out what was at that index number 1, Spoon, Austin, indie rock. And if we want to go through the loop and list everything that's in that array, then we just write a for loop, again the same as a while loop, that's going to go through. It's going to start at 0. It's going to look for the length of that array of bands. In this case, there's 3 items in it. And then it's going to write the name, city, and genre down for each band at whatever letter it happens to be at. So that's really kind of a fun and easy way to do it. It's not a lot of code. It's just all this data leading up to these couple lines of code down here. Let me refresh this again. So again, we get a clean view. I'm going to paste that in here. And you can see that it writes on each line the name of the band, the city, and the genre that they are. And you can see that down here. And it actually, this code actually includes a line break to include in here. So this is not that hard. What this is often called is JSON. When you hear people talking about data being in a JSON format, it just stands for JavaScript Object Notation. And that's all this is. This is an object, and we're using object notation to store each element in this band array. So that mentions it right here. At this point, it's important to point out how you handle comments when you're in a scripting language. In JavaScript, a single line comment is with 2 slashes, and you probably noticed I was using those. So in here, it just gave you some instructions as to what was going on. And that's often used. So up here, I said, here's the initializer, here's where the band array is. And so that just says for the code to ignore what's happening. If you have a multi-line comment, then you use a slash and an asterisk, and then you close it with an asterisk slash. And to be honest, sometimes I use commenting to comment out parts of my code as I'm testing it. But often people use it to leave instructions or to provide information for other coders who are using their script. Very important to do good commenting in your code so other people can understand it if other people are using it. Help other people out.